Hello Tezos friends, and yes, here we are looking yet again. As we'd spoken yesterday, and as we've spoken about so often, we have this thing. Of course, when you're looking at patterns over the period of on the 24-hour chart, then of course they're going to stay there, aren't they, for quite a wee while as you talk about things. So let's see how it's all developing along for us, shall we? Let's just make it all big there and say, well, we wanted to see the prices turn around. As you can see, actually, I just deleted a couple of things off there. We wanted to see the prices turn around in this area. They didn't. And fair enough, over the weekend the Bitcoin prices have had a little bit of a jump up, in a sense, not much, but you had these wicks up here, and as we look towards the Tezos dollar prices and stuff, we've not had the dollar prices moving up the way, so to see that translate across the Bitcoin prices is dropping down a wee bit. That's okay. What does this actually mean for us though in terms of brown trousers? Because we like to talk about brown trousers on the channel. Brown trousers are great because it means that your poo doesn't show up when you poop yourself. We have this line here. This is our previous low, you could say. You could have said that. Now, whether or not you wanted to include this area as just being part of the overall upward thrust, and in fact say something like where we were consolidating over here to be our previous low, that's totally debatable, and I'm happy to, well, actually I'm not happy to have that debate. I'm happy to acknowledge that debate exists and then leave it for you to decide yourself. I'm not a financial advisor, none of this financial advice, of course. So, are we putting in a lower low just now, or are we on our way down to sit in a higher low, which is past the 50% retrace on this Fibonacci retracement? And that kind of sucks in a way, but we could be looking down to where we have, this 382 of this Fibonacci retracement over here, the 618 of this Fibonacci retracement that we're looking at the minute, and our previous area, which was resistance, which flipped, and we're asking the question, having never really retested that area properly, really. You could have said that we retested it in here on the April 17th, but and that was kind of just part of the volatility during the breakout, so I wouldn't have actually said so. So we never actually retested that. So could we see this operate as a retest for us and have the prices come in and turn around at that area? We'll have to see for us. At the minute, it looks like that's possibly where they're going. But we'll have to wait and see, like I said, and there's a couple of dynamics there. For instance, as well, the Bitcoin prices, I'm not entirely convinced the Bitcoin prices are going to just jump right up for the next day or two necessarily, which would push the Tezos prices down. I'm not entirely convinced that the Bitcoin prices are going to drop dramatically over the next day or two, which would push the prices up. But if either of those things happen, we'll need to be aware of it, which is why I always recommend watching all of the videos on the channel. But let's just jump over straight away to the dollar prices and take a look and say, is there any potential for us to be getting actually, you know what, as well, we don't need this crap on the chart anymore. Is there any, we'll leave this one on because this is potential is operating as sort of support for us. So we'll just jiggle it around a wee bit and say, look, we've got these touches, kind of, let's just make it properly touch the bodies. We've got these touches of the bodies here, and we've got the touches of the bodies there, kind of, and we're coming in here and we're testing this again as support. That's okay. That can be kind of considered to be positive. You could then also kind of just draw its counterpart. If this is the bottom section of a triangle area, you could draw its sort of counterpart in here and say, this is maybe your triangle area here. That seems way too generous to me as a starting point. In fact, I'll just do it in the 12-hour or something like that instead, so you can sort of like fit it in a bit better. You could say, are we consolidating in this area, and could we get a breakout from it? That's actually not, that doesn't look like that. It looks way more like that sort of a thing. Is this going to turn out to be a positive ascending triangle where we get a breakout from it, which goes up the way? And I'm going to talk about something else in just a second too, so don't worry about this. I'm not putting all my bags in one basket. Where does that take us to? It takes us to our exclamation point sign, so we can delete that for just now. In fact, beforehand, if it were to break the downside, it takes us down to the 55 moving average there, by the way, exponential moving average. But do we have anything else on the go? And just in terms of this 12-hour time frame, is it fair to say that that's a left shoulder? And is it fair to say that that's a head? And is it fair to say that that's a right shoulder? Well, maybe it is, in which case you could take a measured move, and let's just be like dramatic about it and say that's the neckline, and we'll take it from the wick up there and we'll stick it down to the neckline again and say, where does that take us? And it takes us all the way back down to $2.30. Now, we've spoken about $2.30 numerous times, and what would that then end up looking like on this thing? Well, I think we've got a channel somewhere else on one of these other charts. Let's just go over and look and see. Yeah, what would it end up looking like over here on, say, the HIP BTC chart? Is this meant to be in logarithmic? Oh, stick it there. What would it look like? Well, it would look like us coming down to the bottom of our channel, would it not? And that's not too much of a surprise, you know, and these things, the way these work. So I hope you're learning something as we look along all these channels. Again, at all these channels, at my channel, at this channel, at our channel, at this community. Hope you're learning something, I suppose, as we talk about that as a potential. We're at the median line right now, the 21 EMA up here on the 12-hour chart. You know, this would be nice to see this operating as support for us, you know, as part of this, as this consolidation thing and it turning around and going up the way. Should that not happen, let's look down to the 4-hour time frame and see if there's anything else coming in of note. Of course, we're below those moving averages now. We're actually below our horizontal line. You see this horizontal line that we've got drawn in at 272? We're below that. Could we be looking down to that 258 number yet again that we've seen so many times? Well, if we did go down there, that wouldn't be too much of a shock, and we would just have this overall shape. In fact, maybe we would even have something like, and I don't talk about these very often, but they're in the Bilkowski's book, so we could maybe investigate this in time, if whether or not you'd get a diamond sort of shape on the go, and that could be a diamond top. Could it be? It doesn't really look like it that much, but we'd have to, you know, we're just spitballing here. I'm just spitballing with you. Check out Bilkowski's book, read that chapter, let me know in the comments of the Discord or whatever if you think it could potentially be anything like that sort of thing, or whatever we could be looking at. You know, we could just say head and shoulders or whatever anyway. Yeah, so overall though, if this was to be the neckline into this 258 area, for instance, on this chart, if this was to be some head and shoulders did form here on this thing, and I don't know how, you know, whatever ended up happening, that it came down to this area and this became the neckline, then that 258 area becomes even more important. But of course, the breakout from that really, like we said before, brings us down towards the 200 simple at the very bottom of this channel. It doesn't seem to be, it's not much of a coincidence really overall that the 200 simple is right along the bottom of this channel overall on the 4-hour time frame. So, you know, there's plenty of things down there which could attract our attention should we need it to go down there overall. I'm a little bit kind of concerned with the fundamentals happening in the market changing overall with the halving happening. We have to admit that Bitcoin is the daddy coin, and when these things happen, it's significant. Take it off log for a second. Where did that line that was there go? It's just miles away. Yeah, anyway, so just in terms of this kind of generally speaking, this area where we have the top side of the channel, we came up, we tested it before, we seem to have been rejected from that sort of $3 area and come back down again. We need to go up, and the next time we go up, if we get above 290, you know, if we shake out around here and then come back up again towards that 290s area and the $3 area, we could be breaking up past the median line of this channel and this downward sloping resistance, and things could be very much quite positive at that point, you know, if that were the case. Let's take a look at some oscillators. Let's get rid of all this crap I drew on there. There's a high, there's a previous high, there's a high, there's a previous high. They're not divergent. So, you know, this top of this here, this top part here in terms of the 4-hour time frame. Oh no, it is divergent. Sorry, misspoke. This here and this here versus this here and this here on the RSI and the MACD, as you can see, and maybe the stochastics, but who can be bothered really looking at it? Does look like it is as well in stats. It's bearishly divergent between those two tops there. So, you know, coming down here, a failure of a push up there could be forming a right shoulder. This right shoulder could be forming at the minute anyway. Who knows, you know, but just the psychology of the thing to be looking out for in that area, you know, this is kind of what we're talking about recently at the minute. If that all goes well and doesn't form a shoulder, doesn't form a head and shoulders, doesn't do all that, doesn't go down to the 258 area and all the rest of it, and we can keep looking for a continuation towards the top side, then great. And this is a warning sign for us, this bearish divergence. You know, so far we've not come in and set a lower low in at all. You know, that's down below that 258 area for that. So we've not got that at the minute, but so, you know, but this is a warning sign for us, and we can combine that warning sign with these levels here. And the first level, of course, is being that 270, you know, where we have this horizontal line in. And these lines should be considered to be more like zones rather than strict lines. But we're currently, you know, we're just trying to poke our heads back up above that just now. We're trying to, you can see that node coming in there as well. This is an area. So anyway, this 272 area is something to be, you know, aware of. Can we break up above that, or are we going to live below it at the minute and be resisted by all this stuff towards the top side, and then try and fill this out? How is that going to look at the time? How is it going to work? And will this in this sort of 4-hour time frame turn into sort of, you know, this is a low, a higher low, and then this is a lower low, you know. So you've got that downward trend, and if you look towards this area and this area on the RSI here and here, it's not divergent. Stochastics here and here not divergent. MACD is divergent. MACD loves to show up divergence all the time, though. It's, you know, it's more of like it's more like you can give it the deciding vote, I suppose, as opposed to it having a veto. It can swing the balance, but it can't stop things. So yeah, so that's kind of what we're looking at, and I think I'm going to have to leave it today at that for today. So this video has been ever so slightly different overall because, you know, I've been so focused recently on whether or not that's a cup and handle, and I'm not going to. And as I spoke about at the start of the video, that idea hasn't gone away yet, and it won't go away for, you know, quite a while really overall. On the Bitcoin prices won't go away for quite a while overall. We've discussed how this could pan out in the meantime, and we can look at the dollar prices and say, well, look, you know, we're not actually getting that massive impetus quite yet, but we could do if the prices go up to 320 and beyond. 320 being very crucial. We've got this 236 Fibonacci retracement in there to 320. Going above that price is quite a big deal, and it would invalidate this, and we could look towards those higher highs and everything else across the daily time frame and that sort of a thing. And just one last thing as well, so was to point out yet again at 311. So if we're on the way up towards that 320 area and we're actually substantially breaking above this 312 price point on the HIP BTC chart, then we could maybe start to celebrate the idea of getting a valid Fibonacci retracement on these all-time high and lows, massive thing. And look at the difference, and look at the size of that, the gap. You know, the size. We've had to come all the way up. The prices have had to come all the way up from 32 cents to get up to $3. You know, prices have gone up. Have to 10 times the price to get it to go up to there, to then and that. So the psychology behind that area is like, you'd have people saying at $3.20, you'd have people who would saying in the world, the Tezos price has gone up 10 times since this time last year. It's 10 times higher than it is. Actually, you know, you can already kind of say that sort of stuff, but that, you know, and then you combine that with people, as we know in the Tezos world, not a lot of people know about Tezos really at the minute. Combine that with people finding out about it, all that enthusiasm, and then let's go to the moon. Let's go to the moon in a rocket ship. Boo! And that'll do for today's video. I'll leave that on the charts for the crack tomorrow, which I suppose you need to have a couple of craters on the moon, don't you? Now it's the big moon cookie. So we'll go to the moon cookie tomorrow. We'll go to the moon cookie tomorrow, or else we won't. But that's what we're looking at in terms of the dollar prices, little dynamics there, and the dynamics with the Bitcoin prices. And cheers very much. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next episode. As always, we make these episodes every day. We do 4 coins: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, and Tezos. And we've got a Discord. We've got a referral link for the library thing if you want to use LBRY to watch these videos on instead of this place, whatever. We've got a Twitter handle, Rocky_Outcrop. You can follow me or chat to me on there. I don't know if I'd recommend that or not. You can also just talk in the comments down here on YouTube. I mean, absolutely, YouTube is sort of the peak of the pyramid, #1. I'll read all the comments and all the rest of it here, so you can happily do that. If you want to take part in the group and all the rest of it, then no problem. Go ahead, do that, and I'll catch you later. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'm going to drink the rest of my cold cup of tea.